We are back in Japan and on our way towards an empire. What we have to do now is maybe start with constructing our first legion, but what we definitely have to do is assimilate more pops. How do we do that? We probably want, which I already did, you can see here, I changed the governor policy in every province we own to cultural assimilation. This makes the process of assimilation a lot faster and is really necessary to change so many pops to our primary culture. Other than that, we of course have enacted the law for religious conversion. That is mostly to one also assimilate pops faster, because of course pops with the same religion as our primary religion assimilate faster, but also to make pops happier, because pops with a different religion than our state religion are a lot less happy than if they were believing in our state religion. Other than that, we have built cities, and in those cities, once we have the money, we will start building grand theaters first, and then great temples as well, if we need them. Not only do they give province loyalty, which we don't really need because our pops are mostly happy enough as is, so that they don't produce unrest, but we care mostly for other effects of those buildings, being the assimilation speed in cities and the conversion speed in the cities where they are built. So, to get there we wanna maximize our income. We already have reasonably good income, but we will probably lower our wages to normal, giving us another plus 1.5, and we will probably ignore our garrisons, because as it stands we are not getting invaded by anyone, so we don't really care for the fort defense or garrison size. This also, well, didn't do much, gave us 0.2 gold per month, but it adds up eventually. With that, we will start, unpause the game and see how long it takes us. Alright, so while we are waiting, I have deified our current ruler. This would give us some good bonuses. I'm not sure if it's the deity that I used or if his stats, well, his stats are definitely too low. You want him to have higher finesse or higher seal, depending on the effect you get. But yeah, I deified our ruler. To do this you need some political influence, and he has to have a popularity of 90 or above. So to get his popularity up there are different ways. Of course you can use the hold games button. This costs you some money, gives you 10 to 15 popularity directly and some ticking popularity over time. Other than that, you can of course gain popularity by winning battles, which we are not at war, so winning battles or winning sieges is not available right now, but if you build buildings in your capital province, the ruler, which is also the governor of this province, will get 5 popularity per building. So if you want to build up the popularity of your ruler, you're gonna want to build some cheap buildings like commercial districts, libraries or tax offices. You want to spam those. For example, you spam 10 of these buildings, you gain 50 popularity for about 650 gold. Additionally, since we want to build up our capital for the city fit for an emperor mission, we need to gain a lot of pops here. How we do that? Of course, population growth is our friend, and also population migration. As you can see, we gain migration from all the neighboring territories, which in turn gain migration from all over the country. This is because, of course, they are all cities, have a lot of available space for population, and we have ports everywhere. Now these ports give different effects. For one, they increase migration speed and migration attraction. Now what does this mean? If we have ports in every territory on the coast in our capital province, we gain a lot of migration speed, as well as also roads will increase the migration speed. We could build roads all over this province. It would increase our migration speed. Of course, it would also cost us a bit of money, but eventually we will do that. Now, other than that, we could of course move a bunch of slaves here. It would speed things up, but that also costs money and is honestly a bit of a waste unless we want to force the mission to be complete. As you can see, I have started to increase the road network in our capital province. For now only connecting all the cities, but probably starting to connect all the provinces. On another notice, apparently the Chinese really want to ally with us. Now that is somewhat understandable, seeing as the Qin are very well on their way to uniting China and claiming the mandate of heaven for themselves, but I don't think we want to get involved in this, at the very least not until we are ourselves an emperor. So for now we will decline all alliances. Our migration currently looks like this. We gain some migration because mostly slaves are migrating, we gain some migration because they are migrating from coastal territories, but more importantly, the ports in this province, which are currently 5, give us plus 12.5% migration speed, so each port gives us plus 2.5%, so we should build more of them. Also, as you can see, the pops migrating from territories that are settlements gain a major debuff compared to the pops migrating from cities. Also, the cities are connected with roads, so they gain another bonus of plus 10% speed. So ideally we want to have as many cities in the province as possible. Of course, we don't want to build cities in territories that produce food, mainly honey and fish. Currently in this mod, I don't know if it's bugged or an oversight from the developers, but rice does not count as food in the sense that if you build a city on a rice producing territory, it will keep producing that rice, as opposed to, for example, fish. Fish will stop being produced and another trade good will be produced here. We cannot control it, but it will not be food, so we don't want to build a city in this territory. And this is very interesting. We now have the option to colonize into southern Korea. Now, do we want to do that, is the question. Of course, We always are interested in expansion, but as we have declared beforehand, we are not really interested in the continent's affairs. And having a border, especially with Qi, this Chinese nation right next to Qin, we might get drawn into some conflicts. Now, of course, Southern Korea shares the same beliefs as we do, for the most part, and we obviously want to help our brothers and sisters who are currently being suppressed by the Chinese. So let me think. I think we will go ahead and colonize Dongno and start our expansion towards the continent. Seeing as we have most of the important dimensions that enable us to assimilate and convert pops, also most of the dimensions that help us deify our rulers, which we of course wanted for our current ruler to be deified, also future rulers, we are going to be deifying all rulers, at least until we have filled our pantheon, and therefore these will eventually be paying off. We now wanna go for centralized production. Now what does this do? It increases our tax by a tiny amount, but it enables the foundry building, and this foundry building is really overpowered. It increases the produced base resource in our city territories by +1. So every city that has a foundry produces automatically one more trade good. We just got the event The Insanity of King Kore, which would give us the option to make him a lunatic. Apparently lunacy runs in the family. We could also just pay 10 gold and skip it. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think we don't want him to go crazy. Yeah. We need that finesse stat for the assimilation. So we will pay and cure him. And we are finally there. After spending his entire life, our king Kore II Yamato has consolidated the conquests of his father and grandfather, and he has built a nation, united under him as its god and ruler. He is now the divine emperor of Yamato. But unlike himself, his son and heir is not as peaceful and is not as much set on development. He sees the colony his father founded in southern Korea, and he sees an opportunity. He wants to expand and come to true greatness, unlike his father who was a mere scholar. He wants to become a true conqueror. Now that we are finished with assimilating the pups in our country, we will change our policies again towards encouraging trade. This should increase our income by quite a bit and also help us with feeding our growing population, since our population has pretty much doubled since the time we took over all of the islands. The Emperor is dead. Long live the Emperor. He is unmarried for some reason. Well, his wife died. You will get someone with probably high finesse or high zeal. I think we go for finesse for now. Other than that, we will of course change up some things around here. Our new ruler will definitely go towards command, and he will also stop assassinating someone. He will start his influence scheme, and he will change some things around here. Firstly, he will definitely change the law towards a more professional army, so we do that. Then we disband our levies because we want to get a legion up and running. There we go, the Legion of Wa is ready. This means of course we can found our Yamato warrior class and gain the authority of the king, which makes us a little more popular. Other than that, we will build up our navy, and I think that will be it. We will be done with this mission afterwards. Let us see. Our navy needs a commander, which we will grant, and we will build to the navy for now only light ships. We have built up our navy, and with that we will finish the mission for island consolidation. We could develop our island, but that's not really in the spirit of our current ruler, so we will complete in the matter of Wa, which will be done right away. So we will finish the mission and start in the matter of Jin, because our current ruler has had his eyes set on Korea for a very long time, and he wants to free it from the Chinese, also from the Koreans, because the Japanese are the only ones that matter, and therefore we will consult the court. From our bridgehead in Korea we will start our conquest. Right where we are, by declaring war on G, which is a client state of Yan, or Yan is their client state? I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, Yan is their client state. Anyways, doesn't really matter since we are going to conquer them either way with our new legion, and we will also call in the rest of our levies, but for now declare war, take this province. I have no idea how to pronounce this, but here we go. As you can see, we are wiping the floor with the Chinese. We will soon be able to get everything we want, maybe even a little bit more. But for now, I think we might eventually release Yan, or maybe liberate some countries. We will see. We are done here. Our peace deal will look something like this. We will take those territories not because they are the borders of the province or the region of Jin, but because it looks a lot better than the actual borders, and it is much more defensible with those mountains around it. Other than that, we will release a bunch of nations here in China, weakening Ji, probably strengthening Jin, but yeah, not that we could change a whole lot there. Also, yeah, let us sign the peace deal and continue cleaning up Korea. As I've already mentioned, we are going to free the Koreans not only from the Chinese, but also from themselves. So here is a declaration of war for Korea. And again, the Koreans don't really stand a chance. They tried to fight us, but there's not really much they can do. Also, we got a breakthrough, which we will take, and further invest into our navy. Why that? Because we are going to go... Take it. We are going to get the military tradition in our Japanese traditions. The following one: Pacific Pirates, which unlock slave raids, which we will use to raid all over China. Why will we do that? We could also just conquer China. Well, we don't really want to conquer China because, for one, they are very strong. For another thing, the Jin here, if you have ever fought the Maurya Empire in India, you know how boring it can become fighting stacks of 100,000 men over and over and over again, and they just keep coming and keep coming, which is exactly what the Jin would do as well. So we will not do that. We would much rather just raid their cities, which they have quite a few of, and take the slaves, build a tall Japan, and win, so to say, the game in that way. We have killed their troops, we have taken their capitals, and with that we will conquer the rest of the Koreans. Other than that, we have founded cities on those northern territories. We will probably also take these territories and found a city there, just because it is much more aesthetically pleasing. We could also use this territory, but we will take this one. And those cities are mostly not for their production, although this one produces amber, but for defense. We will build granaries and fortresses on these, so if anyone decides to invade us from the north, we will have a lot of time to rally our forces over here before they break through. Any other way, of course, our huge, or soon to be huge, navy will take care of any invaders. You can see now we are raiding up and down the Chinese coast. It will give us some aggressive expansion, but we can only do this every 10 years, so we should recover from that. Other than that, of course, we gain a lot of slaves here. They will kickstart our economy and we will make money. Now, what else are we doing right now? We are, of course, still fortifying our northern borders here on the mainland. On our island we are developing a farming district over here, a mining district over here. We will eventually gain our capital to even greater heights. We already have 132 pops, which should be the biggest population in the game right now for any given territory. We have of course space for another 120 pops once we build all the aqueducts. We will have even more space, probably up to 300 pops. Of course, our ultimate goal is to have every territory in our main region of Wa or Japan be a city, unless it produces, of course, food, and have them all have a whole lot of pops. At least that's the goal of playing tall in this game. Other than that, of course, our colony here in Korea will eventually get assimilated, converted, which actually we're already almost done, because of course we have the law that makes it a lot easier. Other than that, what is happening currently in the world? The Maurya Empire has somewhat survived, of course not under the Maurya. Yankai doing Yankai things, flobbing around the steppes. Parthia doing Parthian things. They have pretty much dissolved the Seleucid Empire. Egypt is also really good. Rome is having a revolt, and yeah, other than that, not much is happening. The Jin are not any closer to uniting China than they were a few decades ago, and I don't think they will get any closer any soon. With that said, I think we are going to leave it here. I don't think it's very interesting to watch me raid the Chinese or build random settlement buildings. Of course, I will keep playing here. I will see how far I can push Japan without, for the most part, conquering much more. Maybe going south into Australasia, Taiwan, the Philippines, but definitely not in the mainland. And that's it. I think I'll leave it here.